All right, so let's have a look here at the four Gospels and how they interact with each other. They're all intertwined and they all tell the story of Jesus, but always from a unique perspective. All four Gospels quote this paragraph from Isaiah. Get up to a high mountain, O Zion, herald of good news. Lift up your voice with strength, O Jerusalem, herald of good news. Lift it up, fear not. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord God comes with might. The book of Daniel has the timing of the prophecies which coincide with the life and events of Jesus' life. Now, there were 12 disciples of Jesus. Okay? Many people believe that all four books were written by Jesus' disciples, but that is not necessarily true. Let's look at the disciples. Here we have Peter, James, John. Okay, there's John. We don't have a Peter or a James anywhere here, or an Andrew or a Bartholomew or a James. We also have Judas, Jude or Thaddeus, Matthew. There is good old Matthew. We don't have a Philip, we don't have Simon the Zealot, and we don't have Thomas either. So only two of these names here are actual disciples of Jesus. Let's look at Matthew. Matthew was a tax collector, and to him is attributed to be the only one of Jesus' apostles that was perfectly literate. Well, not the only one, but one of the only ones. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. When we say literate, we mean that he could both read and write. If you think about it, the other disciples were poor fishermen, and most likely at that time they were uneducated. Okay. Now, Matthew was an actual inner circle disciple of Christ, and his gospel was probably written around 80 AD. And it was written to a Greek audience, not a Jewish audience. So it was written in Greek. So 80 AD, this gospel, the Gospel of Matthew, the first one that we see in the Bible, was not written until 80 years. Okay? 80 years after Jesus was born. Okay. Mark. Let's look at Mark. In Peter 5:12 through 13, Peter references Mark as his as his spiritual brother, and he was a companion of Paul. Therefore, they never actually met. He never actually met Jesus. If you think about it, when did Paul come about? Paul was not one of the original disciples. Paul was knocked off his horse by the Spirit of Jesus because he was persecuting the church. We don't find out about Paul until Jesus has gone up to heaven, right? So Mark, that is, was a companion of Paul. So he could not have met Jesus. Okay. So he probably related what Peter told him and later what Paul told him in order for him to write his gospel. Mark's gospel could well be Peter's gospel as written by Mark. Indeed, Mark was Peter's interpreter. So he actually wrote everything that Peter told him about Christ. So if we follow this logic, we know that Mark is truly writing Peter's teachings of the life of Christ. And this gospel was written around 60 to 66 AD. Curious, isn't it? Because just a second ago, when we were talking about Matthew, we said that that one was written when? Let's go back here a little bit. See, Matthew was written about 80 AD. And then we have Mark that is written around 60 to 66 AD. So this gospel, the Gospel of Mark, was written first, even though it appears second in the Bible. It goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.